We were just saying to David that you racked up the road miles in the last couple of days. Did you consider staying up after the Dingwall game?
We did, and Ross County's chairman very graciously offered us the use of their training facility. But I thought it was important to get the guys back home in their own beds and get them comfortable, get them in comfortable surroundings. We actually talked about staying up after the game this evening, coming back down Parkway and staying in a hotel and possibly recovering the guys at the hotel facility. But we want to get the guys back. We want to get them rested. We want to get them comfortable. And I know Team Sky take their own beds with them everywhere they go. We're not going to do that just yet. But we know that it's difficult in terms of mileage, but we're more than content we've picked the right choice.
How different a challenge would you think it'll be tomorrow night on what is a Highland League park with a slope?
Well, interestingly, we sat there as a squad and watched Tottenham versus Newport and watched a group of players that are from a lower league really push their Premier League opponents very, very, very hard. And really unfortunate not to win the game. I said to the players, this could be us unless we apply ourselves properly. I'm not saying Tottenham didn't, but we need to be ready for it. We need to be ready for a difficult pitch. We need to be ready for a close-in encounter with guys who are desperate to be the story in Scottish football of the year. And we have to make sure that we respect that and display the same attitude that we've shown in our last two games. If we do that, then I'm sure we can overcome any challenge that's presented to us.
It's also the last day of the transfer deadline tomorrow. Do you anticipate getting any players in before midnight, and how's that going to work given you've got a game at night?
You tell me. This is my first one. It's a difficult circumstance. I'm not sure I agree with the transfer window mechanism anyway. I'm definitely not sure I agree with the fact that it's not synchronised across the globe. There are different windows open until later than ours. It's just a situation we have to deal with, and I'm sure that right up until the window, our director of football and myself will be fielding calls about our players and about players potentially who want to come here. But we have to make good, solid footballing decisions to make sure we enhance our squad and enhance our challenge of closing the gap to those in front of us and making sure we have a positive second half of the season. It may be difficult, but it's our job to make sure we do it the best possible way. Can
you clear up the story surrounding Alfredo Morelos? Apparently a club from China has made a bid for him. Is there accuracy in that?
There is, as far as I'm aware. But we have to make a footballing decision based on can we resource someone of Alfredo's quality. Do we want Alfredo to leave? At the moment, Alfredo's a top scorer and he's doing really well. He's adjusted to our challenge, to our club, to our culture very, very well. And we want to make sure that everything that Alfredo has as a target, we can show him he can accomplish here. If he wants to get into the Colombian national squad, he can do it here. If he wants to be the top scorer in this country, he can do it here. He does that by tearing up trees here at this club because he's got a fantastic support. He's got a fantastic platform, a wonderful stage to go and be on TV loads and loads of times every month to really go and showcase what he's about. And if that's the case, these guys from China won't be the last people who come knocking and calling about him, but we have to make sure that he understands he can really, really push his status up at this football club.
The figure quoted, I think, was 6-7 million. Is that accurate? That's a lot of money for...
I won't comment on the figure, but once again, it's a footballing decision. I've not been told there's any economic necessity to change, to move him away. It's about footballing decisions, about making sure we close the gap. If we make a footballing decision that we can actually push on by keeping him, then that's what we do.
It is a lot of money for any club in Scotland though, isn't it, to reject?
It is, but as I said, we're not in an economic position where we have to accept it. It's about footballing decisions that I have to make and that we have to make to ensure that we push our club forward and keep progressing on the positive path that we're on currently. We have to try and enhance that, not detract from it.
Has there been other inquiries for Alfredo as well?
There's been other inquiries for lots of players. Once again, it comes down to the footballing decisions. Are we going to strengthen the squad? If someone goes out of the building, can we get better in? Can we do better business than we've already done? I'm really happy with the business that we have done. But once again, it's down to the squad on the park. It's not down to anything other than that.
Just to clarify, has the bid from China been rejected, or is it still... There's still talks going on?
Talks are ongoing. At the minute, they haven't met our valuation, they haven't met our requirement for what we want in terms of our squad. And as it goes on, we will still look at Alfredo as our number one centre forward. We've brought Jason in to support him. We've got Eduardo as well. And we have to make sure that what we do is we have to safeguard this positive feeling around the club, around the squad, and make a solid footballing decision. I'm not going to allow a player to leave just because there are lots of zeros involved. we have to make sure that we actually make good, solid footballing decisions. Taking Alfredo out of our squad without a ready-made replacement to strengthen us is not a decision I'm prepared to make.
Do you have a replacement in mind? Should the numbers change?
We're talking about that all the time. At the moment, we don't see any way to replace what Alfredo brings.
What is your evaluation of him?
High. Once again, it goes down to can we bring in better than what we're for the price and in the time scale. The time scale makes it difficult. Obviously, every single footballer on the planet has a price. Neymar proved that one. But it's about time scale and it's about making sure we can then use what we get to enhance the squad. We're not going to leave the football squad short. It is a footballing decision based on what we want to do this season.
Is he in the squad for tomorrow night?
Yes.
So there's no intention that he's not going to travel?
Nope.
And whatnot, right, okay. Danny Wilson's gone.
Yes.
Can you explain the reasoning behind that?
Danny found it very difficult in the circumstance previous to my own appointment, in that he wasn't in the squad and he felt as though he wasn't going to be in the long-term plans of the squad, and he decided to look elsewhere. I came in and he came into the squad, and I have to say I thought he was fantastic for us. He did a fantastic job, scored vital goals, stood up to big challenges and won big games for us. He decided that he had an option that he'd worked really hard to get for himself and his family in a different place. And we had a bit of a heart-to-heart. He and I sat down and we had 40 minutes chatting about his options. He obviously knows what I think of him as a person and as a player. He's decided that him and his family would benefit from a new challenge, and I couldn't, hand on heart, stand in the way of that. I could, if I wanted to, say to Danny, no, you're going to honour your contract, you're going to see it out until the end of the season in good conscience. I couldn't sit across from him and tell him that I was prepared to do that. I want the players to be happy. I want the players to be content. I want the players to be pushing on and striving to make this place better. Danny felt as though his heart was away from the place, and I thought it was better for all concerned that he had the opportunity to go and explore that.
His departure, does that mean that you need to get a replacement in before tomorrow night?
No.
So you're quite comfy with the options you've got at centre half, even though
as we stand, the options that we have, we've brought Russell Martin in. We've got Ross coming back from injury. We've got David Bates, who's going from strength to strength. We've got Fabio Cardoso, and we've got Bruno Alves returning from injury. So we have options there. You never know, someone might come in for another one of our centre halves with that, and then that would necessitate a change in policy from us. But once again, it'll be a footballing decision based on improving our squad and enhancing our squad for the challenge at the end of the season. You know, we've got a good opportunity in the second half of the season to enhance where we are and what we're doing. I won't jeopardise that through short-termism.
Will there only be players coming in between now and Wednesday at midnight if there are players going out? Is that the case where your squad is at the numbers you want it to be?
The squad is heavy at the moment, but once again, it's competitive and it's positive and it's challenging for those people who are in the squad to get in the first team. So I'm content that everyone we have at the moment is adding to what we do. But I've got no doubt between now and the transfer window closing, I'll get phone call after phone call after phone call, and I might just turn my phone off as we get on the bus to go to Fraserburgh tomorrow evening.
You say you've got a heavy squad. Does that give you a chance to experiment tomorrow, or will you be sticking with the players?
We wouldn't call it experiment. We're going to go and try and win the game. We're going to go put a team out there that has a fantastic opportunity to go and get a positive result, but there may be changes.
How have you found this first transfer window?
Awful. I'm not sure I agree with it, full stop. I think it's a fantastic money-making exercise for some clubs and for some agents and for some players. I think it brings a degree of a frantic nature to it that is not warranted and unsettles players and unsettles clubs. But it's the reality that we actually deal with. I think that FIFA need to look at synchronising the transfer windows across the globe to make sure that we can't lose a player in February that we can't replace. I think that's one of the downfalls of it. But we work in an imperfect world, and we just have to make sure we do the best.
I guess that's the issue.
Beneficial having a director of football then that can deal with a lot, take a lot of that away from them.
Mark's working tirelessly behind the scenes, and thankfully I only get to see the pointy end of the spear. He does all the background work, and I make sure that when I'm needed we go and have a frank discussion about the football needs of the club. But he's doing lots of work. Him and his recruitment group are doing lots and lots of work identifying players, identifying clubs, and making sure that he equips me the very, very best he can to have a positive push of the second half of the season.
So is there a worry from you that after the transfer window shuts here that a club from China may offer for Alfredo Morelos that you can't refuse and you won't be able to replace him?
I've never been told there's a number that I can't refuse. It's a footballing decision. If I don't think I can get better in than what we have in the timescale and the money that we have, then I don't have to sell anyone. I've been told that, so until that changes, we'll carry on in those circumstances.
What do you think about the decision to schedule games for Wednesday night?
I think that we've had a winter break and my team have got 10 games this month. I think it's an extreme workload, but once again, it's the reality that we have, and Premier League teams with squads that don't have as many numbers in as ours has have to do the same thing. So we have to make sure we resource it as well as we possibly can, we recover the players as well as we possibly can, and we give ourselves as good a chance as possible of pushing on up the league and coping with what is a congested fixture schedule. But you don't really get a lot of sympathy in this line of work, so we just have to make sure that whatever game we have, the guys show a fantastic attitude and we prepare them as well as we can.
Any team news, any players in or out?
Well, James Tavernier is suspended, obviously, so he can't play. And Greg Doherty hasn't been registered because he was signed after the original date of the first game. Those are things that are already widely known, but other than that, we're similar to last weekend.